Today I'm going to be showing you my version of a fathead minnow clouser. Very small fly, great for panfish, bass, white bass. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of today's video. Stay tuned and let's get to tying. Got some 140 black thread. We're going to start it right. Sorry, this is a size 6 eagle claw. I'm using the same size as I did in the past hopper video, just because these minnows are small. We will be adding that lateral black line that they do have. Start it about right here. And we're going to cut that excess off now. Right about now, we want to add in our golden bead chain eyes. Now I particularly use gold just because the minnows around the area have gold eyes. Easy to see in darker water, and pop off, just add them in again. About 3/4 way up the hook shank. Maybe 1/4 behind the hook of the eye. Do some wraps behind. I'm gonna come back and go do some over unders. Pull tight there. And then go back and do kind of like a figure 8. And we're going to use 3 different types of colors in this fly. Or on this fly, I should say. We're going to use black, brown, white, and I guess if you want to call it pearl flashing, you know, kind of like a white and flash color, but pretty simple. I'm going to grab some just regular marabou, black marabou. Not sure if it is woolly bugger marabou or the particular kind, but I'm just gonna grab that much. Take your fingers and lick that a little bit so you can grab it, and you're gonna add it as the tail there. I make sure to grab a little bit because some of these get pulled out or some of them fall apart. And don't worry about cleaning this up yet. You just want that black stripe in there, as that lateral line will stand out. Tie that in tight. We're gonna add in a few pieces of pearl flashing now. Just a few. One piece should do for this tail. Hold it back. Make firm wraps. If you want to split it to each side, you can. And wrap back over that. I like trimming to length already. Trim them just a little bit longer than the tail. Okay, now we are going to work our way back up here, leaving this black because this is the lateral line. You can go over this as many times as you want to make it however thick you want. But I'm just gonna work this back up to the, let's say about like right here. About 1/4 behind the eye. Making sure all of this is straight. I'm gonna add some brown dubbing from our rabbit fur. So you don't need a lot, just very little. And so I'm gonna create a dubbing loop because this is the dubbing from the fur. It is hard to spin on I'm sorry, I'm not even speaking here. It's so hard to spin on the thread when it's just from the hair, and I find it easier just to go ahead and stick it in here and loop that up. So after we put this dubbing on, we're gonna go ahead and I'll show you here in a minute, we're gonna add our white and our brown and just a tiny bit more black to finish up this fly. And so I am not fancy, I don't have a hook or anything to hold this, so I kind of make up a solution to this and use my hackle pliers. And I'll kind of do some spin to see if to see what it'll give me. I know sometimes it will mess up. If it messes up, take it off again, but this one looks like it's cooperating right now. So I'm gonna spin this on here. You really want that bulkiness by the eye. Make sure you catch that. Got everything in one spot here. Make sure you catch that with your thread. You need to move things around, do so. To make kind of like that really beefy front look of that minnow. Be careful when cutting this off. Don't cut your thread you already have on. Make sure to wrap around those eyes a little bit more if you need to. We really want that bulkiness kind of back here. We want to leave this black section back here. So if there is a little bit of bulkiness like right by this thorax area, that's okay, and not back here. We really want this bulkiness right behind the eyes. That's where this minnow has all of their bulkiness at the head, and you know, as do all minnows. So now I'm gonna finish up by, like I said, I'm not fancy, I don't have a rotary vise yet, so I'm gonna switch this. Remember, hook up, hook rides up, since we have the eyes on the bottom. So I'm gonna tilt this like this, invert it this way. Now I'm gonna add some more black. Some more of that black marabou. Try and get some long pieces. And try and get some pieces that will reach all the way past that hook curve in the back. So I like to kind of measure out and get the ones that are kind of poking out. I like to about measure out like right there. And so I'm gonna tie in all of this right here. It doesn't need to be perfect at first. Make sure you're gentle when you tie this down. Make 2 wraps and pull. Tightly go around the eyes, just the front, so you're not tapering that down too much. Cut that excess off. You still have a little bit of room to get that whip finish in there. So now we're gonna add that belly. Flip it back over, making sure that all of your maybe staying lined up. You want to go ahead and trim some more. I'm just tedious like this, and I have to make sure we got the trim, so before I'm adding anything else. So got that on there. Now we're gonna add just a tad bit of white rabbit fur at the bottom. These minnows have just a tad bit of white. I usually get a big clump like this and just try to pick out that those best fibers. And this doesn't need to extend all the way to the tail. I usually don't extend it all the way to the tail. I usually extend it to the end of that, where the tail starts, where I started tying in that tail. That's kind of where I like to measure out this rabbit fur. I'm gonna go ahead and tie that in right there. Soft cinch, rearrange it, get one more in there. You could rearrange it as well. And then we're gonna go over, oh, if I can get, there we go. Over the eye, over this front eye. So that we just have that right there. We're gonna wrap, pull this back, wrap in front of this, and then cut your excess. Now, you got stuff hanging out, come in here and trim it if you like. Be careful with your thread. I like to taper this down. Make sure we got everything in place. I like to flip it over. Make sure everything is laying right. Making sure that is all laying correctly. Place some. I like to make a fatter head up here on this one just because it is a fat head minnow. That's what I'm trying to imitate. We got a little bit of brown in there, some white. Make sure to pull this white. If anything comes out, leave it out. We want this to be riding pretty thick up front and taper off in the back. This is riding hook point up. Remember, I'm gonna add a few whip finishes in here. Make sure to pull that tight. Finish to see that final end look of this fly. Of course, this is all preference to you, how you like to tie it. I sometimes like to come in here and give this fly a taper finish for that white, just to give it a more bulkier look on the bottom. But other than that, it's that simple. There you go, that's the fathead minnow fly, tied in a lot of different ways. A lot of, you know, you can tie this in green, olive green. I've had it work in olive green. I mean, I've had it work in light brown, without white sometimes. Sometimes I go all dark, blue, green, purple. I mean, this works on all different types of colors, of course, but I myself like to mimic that natural look of a fathead minnow. If you guys enjoyed this tie, it may not look the prettiest, but it does catch fish, I promise you, from bass, panfish, white bass, to all kinds of freshwater species. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you do like this tie. Make sure to stay tuned for more ties as well as more fishing videos. And yeah, you guys have a good one.